This evening. This is our 31st Law and Order night. We only missed the first year that we were chartered, but since then we've had one every year. And I would like to introduce to you right now our current leader of our lodge, Exalted Ruler, Mary Retterberg.
It's my honor and privilege to welcome every one of you to the Tahoe Douglas Elks Lodge. And for the 31st year, it is our honor and privilege to host this event for Nevada's finest. And you are. Thank you all for everything that you do and for making us feel safer in our daily lives. I had and I'm going to say it's a privilege because it actually was. When we pulled into our home to move in, my husband was in front of me, the big truck towing the big fifth wheel trailer. And I was behind him in the Sequoia towing the boat. Everything was fine all the way up from Ridgecrest until I turned right on Palomino into Ruinstrath, and then the red lights lit up behind me. And it was one of Sheriff Brady's finest. And he says, your signal is not working. I said, what? I just came all the way up the valley. I had 2 CHPs behind me all through the canyon, and they didn't notice that the signal didn't work to turn right. And he looked back and he said, you forgot to plug it in. I said, no, I didn't forget to plug it in. My electrician husband forgot to plug it in. And the officer said, well, I have to give you a ticket. He said, but if I were you, I'd fight it. I said, thank you. And I did. And the fellow with the court laughed so hard, he had tears in his eyes. He said, if your husband was with you, I'd rewrite this to him. Get out of here, it's not your ticket. So thank you, Douglas County, for having the most enjoyable encounter I've ever had with a traffic ticket. It was great, and the officer was wonderful. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your evening, and we're looking forward very much to hearing everybody's names who's going to be called tonight. And we also want everybody to stop off at the bar and pick up a brochure on the Elks, because I would love to interview and initiate every single one of you this year. That is my goal. Thank you for being here.
We will now have the colors presented by Explorer Post 2105, Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our glorious flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our chaplain will now lead us in an invocation. Tony Wend.
Dear Lord, we pray for the courage of those men and women who serve us. courage to face and conquer the fears, courage to take them where no one else would go. We pray for strength, strength of body to protect others, strength of spirit to lead others. We pray for dedication, dedication to their jobs and to do it well, dedications to the community to keep it safe. Lord, give them concern for those who trust them and compassion for those who need them. And Lord, through it all, be by their sides. We thank you now, Lord, for this food and for those who have prepared it. We ask that you may strengthen and nourish our bodies. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I'd like to introduce the head table at this time. My extreme left, your right, is Jim Wright, who's our speaker tonight, his wife Lisa. Next to her is Mrs. Perini. And of course your boss, to most of you, not all of you, Sheriff Ron Perini. To my right is Mary Rederer, who is our current exalted. Her husband Rich, who is one of the cookers tonight, and Tony Went, our acting chaplain, and her husband Gary Went. He's a past exalted ruler of our lodge also, and is another one of the cooks. Our speaker has a unique and diversified public safety background. He's had 39 years in his career, which includes experience in law enforcement, fire protection, emergency management, homeland security, and emergency medical services. Given that the Nevada Department of Public Safety is a multidisciplinary organization, his experience has served it well. Before Jim Wright's appointment as director in 2013, he's served as deputy director from 2011. He also served as the interim chief of the Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security in 2011 and served as the Nevada State Fire Marshal from 2016. Prior to coming to Nevada, Jim enjoyed a lengthy and successful career with the California Department of Forestry and Fire Prevention, where he retired as Deputy Director for Fire Protection. I could go on, but he's a veteran, served in the United States Air Force, and what more can I say? It's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for the evening, James M. Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, Director, Nevada Department of Public Safety. Please greet him.
Thank you, Jim, for that introduction, and I hope everybody toward the end of the room can hear me okay? Projecting okay? I can usually project pretty good. That's about the distance Brian Sanchez's office is from mine, and when I need him, I can usually get him promptly. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background. I know it's been to some kind of interesting. Well, how can you do this? How can you have so much experience in different disciplines and stuff? And you know, I did it. I had a very wonderful career in California, which my department had the opportunity to be basically dual certified, doing two jobs, not only in the fire protection side of the department, but also the law enforcement side. So certainly that's carried a long ways for me, and I'll tell you, I get kidded about it. My fire colleagues say I'm too much of a cop. cop colleagues say I'm too much of a firefighter. You know, you can't please anybody, but the bottom line, all that counts is that I'm good at both. And that's all that matters there with that. Well, good evening, everyone. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight and be able to share with you some comments. As I was asked to come down and talk to you tonight, and also I had a little bit of a scare when I looked at the agenda and saw that there was a 45-minute gap for me and kind of panicked. So what am I going to say in 45 minutes? But after a wonderful dinner, I promise you I'm not going to go that long, because I would probably put you to sleep, and that's not the intention. The intention tonight is to get to the awards for those recipients, and that's what the night's about. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about our profession, the law enforcement profession, and things that are going on as we've seen here in the last year. You know, our profession is very honorable, noble, and gratifying to those of us who choose this as a job to protect and serve our public. But it's also very dangerous. And we were just reminded of that dangerous reality yesterday when we enshrined the names of 2 officers who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and they're now on our State Peace Officer Memorial on the Capitol grounds. The threats of violence towards officers are increasing. Oops. Hope no one got hurt back there. Well, I could. Hopefully there are good hands back there. But there's violence, and it's gone to those the groups of those hardcore criminals. And now they're being named in kind of a trendy name of thugs now. That's been in the news and catching on. But they're now being joined by sovereign citizens, the lone wolf extreme violent extremists that are running around our nation, gang members, and now the new actor on the block is the ISIS militants and their sympathizers, who are trying to bring the jihad to us in our homeland. That's going to be the evolving threat to us. We have to do that. Our daily activities and work assignments must now include a heightened level of caution and situational awareness all around us. Then, besides this, there's also a new front that we must be aware of and deal with immediately. It's our interactions with our communities and the people we are sworn to protect and serve. Over this past year, especially within the past few months, we've all witnessed on a national level, in the national news, of actions of peace officers which have caused civil disturbances, something we haven't seen in a long time. Lawsuits, criminal indictments of officers, and it goes on. You know, what's going on with this? We're now defending our profession almost on a daily basis from claims of being too militaristic, police brutality from excessive force, irresponsible shootings, chokeholds, and questionable in-custody deaths. We all see it. I'll tell you, in the last couple of months when the news hype was on this, it was like every night when I came home, there was a news story about something involving peace officers, something they've done, and the actions that's caused. You know, again, I question what's going on with this. You know, we've seen the videos that have stirred up this controversy, and frankly, they're disappointing to see. I think you all agree. Kind of horrible to see some of that happen. But again, the actions of 1, then 2, then 6, then up to 10 officers have unfortunately tainted our profession. We know that every day, tens of thousands of peace officers throughout the United States perform honorable, conscientious public safety work. The damage has been done to our profession when the media reports and sensationalizes these inappropriate actions of just a few. What can we do about this? We have accepted positions of visible authority within our communities. in the state, and we are held to a tremendous high standard of honesty, integrity, and professionalism. Remember, the level of scrutiny is at an all-time high. There are cameras and video recorders everywhere, watching every move we make. And soon, we will all probably be wearing cameras so we can record back. Further defend our interactions. And who knows, in the future, there may be small drones deployed upon vehicle stops in the future to capture the whole scene. Who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? But it's a community trust. How we earn and maintain is paramount. We must have the public's belief in us so they feel they are safe and secure in their communities. Again, it all starts with us by practicing prudence and sound decision making to the best of our ability and training, courage, honesty, justice, and the utmost professionalism. We must have and hold faith that society as a whole is still made up of a majority of law-abiding, good people who feel safe knowing that we're doing our job protecting and serving them each day. Remember, it's just a small number of those who cause trouble in society and the reality of things. Just like it's a small number from our side who causes our profession problems. This award ceremony tonight is a wonderful way to recognize those who do their job exceptionally well and do the right things to help the public. The awards presented tonight reflect the appreciation of your efforts and to protect and serve. I wish to congratulate the officers from the various agencies, the public safety support personnel, and the volunteers being recognized tonight. And thank you for allowing me, and I got my pages. I got my pages messed up. And I'm not that far off. Pretty close there. But it was one of those days today. You know, you get running here. That's a closing page. But no, truly, I'm just a page off, so I can make up for that. But truly, what it is tonight is what it's all about. You're going to hear some stories and the awards presented that are going to make you all very proud. And that's what it's all about, is making this community that you live and work in a safe place. And by doing these award ceremonies, is that opportunity to share that and show that appreciation to those. So again, I congratulate all the award recipients, and thank you for allowing me and my wife Lisa to spend the evening with you, and congratulations again. Thank you.
We're now going to start in with, I think we have 32 or 33 awards to present tonight. And so we'll try to move it along as quickly as possible. Tonight will be presented by Lieutenant Colonel Brian Sanchez of the Nevada Highway Patrol. He happens to be a member of Tahoe Elks Lodge.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Lodge 2670, thanks for inviting us back here this year. For this opportunity to recognize our officers. Sheriff, thanks for allowing us to join with Douglas County. And Director Wright, thank you for donating 35 minutes to me for a long conversation. Appreciate that. Let's talk about Joe Duffy, will we? Anyways, just saying. All right, now, tonight I'd like to take the time to recognize one of our state troopers that's stationed in this district right here. It's exciting for me tonight because I've known this young man for quite a few years now. He worked very, very hard to get to this district and to serve. And the purity of his servitude is something that's unmeasurable. He gives of himself day in, day out, and he's just a wonderful family man and a wonderful Nevada State Trooper. His name is Tappan Kornmesser. We're recognizing him for his efforts. For February of 2015, he came upon a crash, a two-vehicle crash in the Lake Tahoe region. The vehicle was down the mountain about 300, 400 feet. Without concern of himself, he went down the embankment and met with one of the vehicles. In the vehicle, there was 3 occupants. All 3 were injured. The 2 adults were able to work their way up that mountain. Tappan himself held on to a child and carried a child back up that mountain to safety. He exhausted himself and also had to receive minimal medical care. At the completion of saving these people, Tappan then went ahead and did his state trooper work and wrote a ticket. I'm kidding. So, with that said, I'd like to introduce Tappan Kornmesser.
The next group of awards are going to the State of Nevada Department of Corrections. Would Quentin Bryan come forth, and you have other people that are with you? Is that you standing up there, Quentin, way in the back? Okay.
Good evening, all. I'd like to start out by thanking everybody for letting us be part of this. This is my first time down here, and actually the first time it's presenting anything, so please bear with me. I'll try to keep it under an hour. Even better. Tonight I have 2 of my staff, one from the Warm Springs Correctional Center, CO April Adams, and from the Northern Nevada Restitution Center, Sergeant Michael Fallman. Both of these staff members are extraordinary in what they do for me and for the Department of Corrections. A little bit about each one here. April, she's very humble, and I kind of had to squeeze her to get some information out of her so I could tell you a little bit about her, but we got some. She was born in Lockport, New York. We'll forgive her that because she moved down here as a child and graduated from Fernley High School. She's got 5 kids, which I can't even imagine trying to deal with that kind of a zoo myself. She started with the Department of Corrections in 2008 and spent all that time working at the Warm Springs. She's done a great job learning every position. I had nothing but great reports from the peers, supervisors for hard work, for versatility, positive attitude, efficiency. She has spent a lot of her own time learning more aspects of the job. Right now she's filling in for me as a caseworker. And I'm down to just 2 when I should have 6 on that yard. So she's really busting her butt, doing a great job for us. One of the other things that she likes to do is volunteer with her local Girl Scout troop. I'm not sure where she finds the time with the 5 kids, but she somehow managed that and still does a good job for us. And Sergeant Tholin, he was born in Los Angeles. Not quite sure when he got here, but he's been with the department for 11 years. Started at the Northern Nevada Correctional Center in 2004. Brought him over to Nevada State Prison. Was that dropping again? Not gonna cooperate, I see. All right. All right, we'll try it. Well, I'll hang on to it here. It's a little awkward, but we'll make it work. Much better. Okay. He's worked pretty much, again, everything we've ever needed him to, from max lockdown, death row. He's got a lot of extensive training, working with our gang units. He's a man tracker. He's a team leader for our tracking team with more than 300 hours of tracking and instruction. We promoted him to sergeant at Warm Springs in 2012, and they transferred him out to the Restitution Center in 2013, where he's working with the trustees and is instrumental in helping us design and get the new northern. I can talk before I got up here. I'm not really sure what happened. The new Northern Nevada transitional housing that's going to be opening in September. His community service includes volunteering at the Shared Christmas Food Drive at the CDI. He organizes volunteers within the Department of Corrections and also volunteers for searches for missing persons. As a man tracker, he's assisted Humboldt County and Story County with escapes, missing persons, and I can't even read my own writing. I apologize for that. So, thank you both. You do a great job for me. I'm honored to have you here and show you off a little bit, even if I can't sing your praises that well.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Isidro Baca. I'm the warden at the Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Fortunately, Director Cox and Deputy Director McDaniel were unable to make it tonight. So on behalf of the Nevada Department of Corrections, we'd like to thank Sheriff Perini and everybody else for inviting us to this event. The first employee that I would like to recognize tonight is Senior Correctional Officer James P.J. Wood from the Northern Nevada Correctional Center. Senior CO Wood began his career with NDOC on July 9, 2007, where he was promoted to his current rank of Senior Correctional Officer in September of 2010. PJ currently serves as our acting property sergeant, a role that he volunteered for and manages quite successfully. During the course of his career, he has demonstrated that he is extremely well organized, mission-oriented, and exceptionally well-qualified Senior Correctional Officer. His professionalism and talents, dedication to his job, and aggressive work habits are an asset to the NDOC. PJ enjoys the outdoors. He is an active avid hiker, enjoys swimming in mountain lakes, playing at Lake Tahoe, traveling, playing softball, and is currently working towards a certification as a scuba diver. He's just one of those officers that you really can't have enough of. He's one of those guys he's there every day with a smile on his face. And, well, I would like to thank him and recognize him being the Officer of the Year this year for us. The next officer we would like to recognize is Senior Correctional Officer Pembroke from the Stewart Conservation Camp. Senior Correctional Officer Pembroke has worked for the Nevada Department of Corrections for nearly 17 years. During his career with NDOC, he has been assigned to the Lovelock Correctional Center, the Nevada State Prison, and his current duty assignment at the Stewart Conservation Camp. Senior Officer Pembroke is a team player and is the go-to guy at Stewart Camp when a job needs to get completed with accuracy and efficiency. When an issue or a question arises at the camp, staff look to him for the answers. Senior Officer Pembroke is not just a valued member of the NDOC, but also our country. He serves his country and fellow Americans as a member of the Nevada Air National Guard and has taken part in several deployments during his 5 years with the Guard. Unfortunately, he's unable to make it tonight, and as duty calls, that's where he's at with his annual training with the Air National Guard. So, again, another one of those officers that can't say enough about, and as an example of where he's at today. So, the Nevada Department of Corrections would also like to recognize Senior Officer Pembroke from the Stewart Conservation Camp.
The first group of plaques here that have been given are from the Elks Lodge to each of the awardees, and will continue down into the Sheriff's Department too, but he has special things that he gives out too. He's got a whole bag full of money. I thought that's what you brought with you. Oh, sorry. Our next presenter is Wendy Garrison. Where are you, Wendy? There you are. What was that? Oh. Oh, wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Garrison. I want to thank the Sheriff and the Elks for having us here again this year. We really appreciate being included in Law and Order Night. And at first I was thinking I'll just read off my speech, and I decided not to. And usually I follow the constable, who is very funny, so I apologize I'm not as funny as the constable. However, I thought I'd tell you just a little story about the 4 ladies that you see in front of you today. And it's going to go all the way back to 1993 for a second. In 1993, I was the first female at China Spring Youth Camp, and my nickname was Token. And I embraced that because I was very proud to be there. And as I look tonight at the 4 ladies that we're going to be honoring, I thought we've come such a long way in 23 years. And so I want to introduce the 4 people before you tonight. We have Leslie Keith. She's a supervisor. Been with us for 11 years now. Miss Paula Pinocchi, been here a little shorter of time. She's now a supervisor with China Spring Youth Camp. Lacey Taylor, China Spring Youth Camp since 09. And Patrice Boynton, who is our drug and alcohol counselor. What these 4 ladies have in common is their professionalism. All of them step up every single day. And if you've ever worked with delinquents, you know that's a lot of work. And in addition to the delinquents, I was reminded tonight that we work with snakes and spiders and creepy crawlies, because we're 1,000 feet higher. And we don't have a lot of, well, we don't like dealing with that stuff, because at the very bottom we are still women. And so we still call them in to come deal with that kind of stuff for us. But it can be very exciting out there. And these 4 make my job incredibly easy. They have all added to the camp in one way or another. They have added to our training. Leslie has stepped up to be our field training officer this last year and was trained by Sheriff Green's staff. And we've embraced that. And we have Paula Pinocchi is a field training officer. Lacey Taylor is a field training officer. And I don't think we've gotten Patrice to do that yet, but we're gonna rope her in. So I'm gonna just let you give them a round of applause. I do not believe any of them want to speak.
Thank you, Wendy. Our next award is from the Douglas County Communications Department. Ron Sager. Whoever wrote this on the program is not a very good writer.
Thank you to the Elks Lodge and Sheriff Bernie. Can everybody hear me okay? For the past several months to the past year, we've been working very hard to accomplish 2 tasks that are on our strategic plan. We have many tasks on that plan, but 2 critical ones. The first is to complete our protocol compliance by implementing the police protocol system. We went live with that mid-March. We're still working out the kinks and so forth on that, but we're getting that accomplished. The second, and most importantly, and the one that I'm most proud of, is that we applied for and we hoped to receive accreditation of our emergency medical dispatch protocol. Well, I'm very proud to say that we accomplished that. On April 1st, I was notified by the Academy that we achieved that. That is a major accomplishment in itself. But on top of that, my staff, these folks here are representing all the staff. I can't have everybody in my own center here. Wish I could, but can't do it. These are the individuals that are responsible for making that happen. That is a major step. We are only the 2nd center in the state of Nevada to be accredited. The first was REMSA, and they only do medical dispatch. This center does all three hazards: police, fire, and medical. So I can't articulate how proud I am. I don't know if you can tell that or not. Yeah. Not only did they do this by working hard, but we're also down 4 positions. So they were also covering 12-hour shifts and everything else. So I'd like to introduce the supervisors Maggie Jensen and Noni McCandless, and special introduction to Tony Williams. I'm sorry, I'm going to embarrass you, Tony. But Tony has an extra duty that she doesn't get paid extra to do, but she's on our quality assurance team, and she's responsible for ensuring that every single member of the center meets or exceeds the standards required to maintain that accreditation. Couldn't do it without her. She has 3 other team members on her team, but she's representing the quality assurance team tonight, and I'm so proud of all of you. Thank you so much for the hard work you do.
Now we go to the Juvenile Probation and Youth Detention Department. Scott Chick.
Good evening, everybody. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Elks Club for setting a tradition of service to our community and recognizing law enforcement and the public servants. Those traditions are important to what community means, and they, on a consistent basis, are here for us. So I want to thank all you guys. Give me a hand. And secondly, I want to thank the Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Ron Perini, who I've been here 13 years. He has always had my back and been a source of wisdom for me and direction, an example. I want to thank his staff. We have a strong working relationship with the Sheriff's Department. That's why juvenile probation is successful. I want to recognize a couple of school resource officers, Mr. Brett Hicks and John Meyer. Our relationship with them and the Sheriff's Department is instrumental in working on the front end with juveniles. It's an exceptional system, an exceptional cooperation, and I think it's a great example. I'd also like to, the Sheriff's Department is strong, determined, and they're never complacent. In this day and age, we have to pay attention to the details. First gentleman I want to recognize tonight is Mr. Chris De Leon. He's been in our juvenile detention facility for 9 years. His beautiful wife Lisa is here with us. I want to thank her for her patience and tolerance as he performs his duties up in juvenile detention. Chris is an individual that has a disposition that can temper a hurricane. And when we get some of our toughest kids in the facility, I call up there and I go, "Hey man, how's it going? Do I need to come up?" He goes, "Why?" And that's just the kind of guy he is and the kind of disposition that he has. He's not intimidated by the kids that we deal with, but he serves them. He tries to get them back on track. He's also a community participant up at South Lake Tahoe. He lives up there, and he's just leaving his duty at South Lake Tahoe Community College as a coach for the women's soccer team, because he's been hired at Sierra Nevada College as a coach for the women's soccer team there. So his professionalism circumvents just his job responsibility. So I want to thank him. He's diligent and patient and confident and reliable. Chris, give him a hand. The second person I want to recognize is a Dominic Hastings Molyneux. He's been 13 years with the Juvenile Probation Department. He came to us as a British citizen. He's a United States citizen as well. And he took the time to get a citizenship, and also he's a juvenile probation officer. He's also our outdoor intervention specialist. And the Juvenile Probation Department has a 30-year history of using the outdoors in the Sierra Nevada wilderness here in the Lake Tahoe area, of getting kids back on track and taking them out there and tempering them. And Dominic has taken that to a level that I've never seen before. So I want to thank him. He's been educated and bred in the University of Glasgow. He's also in the British Armed Forces as far as recon and winter survival. So he brings that skill set to us, and I want to commend him for. We don't have incidents in the field. He takes kids into environments in a safe manner. He prepares for it, and that's why we're able to do what we do. And the kids, the outcome is incredible. They come out with confidence and awareness, and quite frankly, we see them doing things that they probably wouldn't have done after they leave us. So, Mr. Dominic Hastings Molyneux. Now, it's my great pleasure and also regret to introduce Victoria Sauerland. She's been 32 years with Douglas County. She began with under a state contract and grant with the Douglas County Juvenile Probation Department, and then evolved into full hire by the county at $9 an hour back then. She graduated the University of Nevada, Reno, and she's a dedicated, loyal, thorough, ethical, customer service-oriented, accurate, and efficient employee, and she's a friend. Her associations, are incredible across the board. She's a multidisciplinary team member, and she developed a multidisciplinary team, which is essential to put juvenile service agencies, child protective service agencies across the state. She's actually been a model for example that we use across the state. Partnership for Community Resources, Austin's House, Suicide Prevention, Sorority, and a mother of a beautiful daughter, Jessica, is here today. I'm proud to work with her and recognize her for 32 years of service. Please bring that up, Pat. Fergus County Juvenile Probation Department Golden Service Award, presented to Victoria Sauerland, 32 years of dedicated public service to the children and families of Douglas County.
Are you ready, Mr. Perini? Now, that was the first 5 or 6, and now we get the last 54. You're on. What a great night. Thank you. What a great turnout. I really appreciate that every year that we can do with the Elks. And we're going to talk a little bit about that a little later. But, I just want to appreciate Jim Wright, a great guy. He's on the commission with myself at Peace Officer Standards and Training. I appreciate all what you do for us. If I pick up the phone, you're there. You're awesome. And you're doing a great job, and I appreciate that. And I look across this entire room here, and we work with the Highway Patrol, we work with the Juvenile Probation Department, the Dispatch Center, China Springs, all this stuff that we do, is it because Douglas County is rated as one of the best counties in the state of Nevada, because we're safe, because people work hard, people do the right things, and we're not on TV doing bad things anymore. I don't think we ever have. And we look at the amount of population that we have one of the lowest crime rate in the state of Nevada, some 18%. And it's because of you. I also want to recognize Tom Gregory. Can you stand up? Our new district court judge. Tom's going to do a great job for us. There's no doubt at all. We're real excited that, in fact, that you are a district court judge. On the other hand, we're going to miss you at the DA's office, because you did a great job on the criminal aspect of it, and we appreciate your hard work. I do have a lot of things to do tonight. I'm going to move as fast as I can, and it's going to be a little bit probably faster. And I would like to say more about those individuals getting those kinds of awards, but we just don't have time. So I'll do the best I can. I'd first like to start off, and as you well know, it's not only employees with our department that are going to get those awards, but we have so many volunteers that we want to recognize also. Almost 250 volunteers that we have make our department better, and we appreciate that. So we've got a lot of different things to give. And first of all, I'd like to start off with Harold Willard, if you could come up, please. Harold Willard is actually one of the charter members of the Douglas County Advisory Council. And I'll tell you, I see a lot of members over here, Ron Alling and Bill and some others that are here part of the Advisory Council. And it's not to advise us about how to actually do our agency, how we do that, how we administer. What they do is they raise money. And people like Harold has helped in the fact that we have, since the last 9 years that this organization's been in existence, $800,000 they have raised to buy equipment for us for the sheriff's office. That's a huge amount of money. I think one of the things that I really appreciate about Harold is not only that you're a charter member, but how many people have seen these things on the cars? Yeah, what it says on there, we support drug-free community, used his life abuse. You drive down the road. Well, you know what Harold does? About 2 o'clock in the morning, he goes around and puts them on everybody's phone. He has to, because we have to buy those all the time. But not only that, is that he works very, very hard dealing with the Red Ribbon organization, which we're trying to educate kids in schools and talk about stay off of drugs. He also does some things dealing with actually making videos within the high school system, and to say, okay, let's look at this, and you present us a film of why people shouldn't use drugs. He does that kind of stuff. And one of the other things he really does is that as a negotiator, the advisory council will say, okay, we have an item that we want you to purchase for us, and then we say it's $2,000, and Harold says, well, I'll talk to the distributor. So somehow, I don't know what you say on that phone, but all of a sudden it drops like $500. So what he does is he says, I know how much that should be and how much it shouldn't be, and he works really, really hard with that. Harold's thinking about leaving in Southern California. I hope your house doesn't go through. But he has got that up for sale, and he's going to be down there, but he's always going to be a good friend of ours, and certainly I know the council appreciates that. And on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, you, Harold Willard, recognize 9 years of service as charter member, Douglas County Sheriff's Advisory Council, and we thank you very much for your service. You know, while Pat's getting at you, I want to thank Linda Taylor over here. I really want to thank Pat Brooks, because they do a lot of work with this. I know it's a lot of work. Next one is Reserve Deputy of the Year, Al Tramaki, or something like that. Al, where are you? I always call him Al, I don't know his last name, but he's Al. And one of the things we want to recognize is reserves that do a really great job every year, and certainly he has been with us since 2004. One thing is very unique, his talent, his knowledge, his ability to work with canines. Unbelievable. And what he does do is, and I know that Captain Duffy can absolutely say that, is he does a great job for us in training our dogs that we have as canines to do the right thing, and also our instructors and the ones that are actually in hold of that dog. One of the things that he did is over the time, he does a very unique thing, and that is the Firearm Detective Police Service canines. And it's very unique in the sense that it's probably the only one across this country is as good as you, to be able to send a canine into a certain area where they're trying to find bullets, guns, the smell of powder, and they actually find some. The FBI has recognized him on one case, and I know that you received that in the mail. Their thanks for the hard work you have done, where some officers, if I recall right, were actually shot at, and they were trying to find some of those empty cases, and they did. And he's an outstanding man that donates a lot of time and effort to us, makes a big difference with our canine program. And on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, I thank you all for great work. Thank you. It's kind of unique in the sense that she started here in 2012. And she has displayed positive leadership, confidence, great work with ethic, and the spirit of being a volunteer. She now has the rank of lieutenant. So that tells you how good she is. You know, one of the things she does do is that because she has that supervisory position, she takes charge. We like that. And I'm so sure the other colleagues like it, but I mean, I'm sure you do well. And what she does do is she wants nothing but the best from each one of the explorers, doing a great job. They are great kids. They really, truly are. One of the things that she had done down in California is she went through a post academy 5 days, which was grueling. I imagine it was pretty tough, and she passed that without question. As you well know, we do a lot of competition with people in western states. I hate to say, this summer coming up, they get to go to Hawaii. And that's okay, because they raise their own money, they try to get donations, and they do so much on their own. And those kinds of events that they do in competition situations, unbelievable.
The only thing I'm going to tell Doug and Trace in this is one thing. I'm tired of the amount of trophies you bring back. We have no more wall space at the sheriff's office. If I recall right, the last one you went through had about 12 to 14. It's because of leadership, what you have given, your hard work, getting in the middle of it, and doing nothing but a positive. On behalf of the sheriff's office, we thank you for your hard work. Posse members, James Matthews, Stacy Harold, is she here? Yeah, come on back. This little guy here, I like him. You know why? He's a pest. Why is it? Come on over. Come on over. You know, one of the things he wants to involve in everything. You know, it doesn't matter where it is, he wants to be there. But you know what? I think it's pretty cool. And the reason I think that is because you really want to get in law enforcement. You want to do things with people. You want to make a difference. He just says, I'm only 14, aren't you? Oh, you went to 15? The problem with that is, he says, I still got to wait till I'm 21. Well, you do, but you're learning a lot. Now, you belong to not only the Explorers, but you're also on the Posse organization, and you're involved in everything, I think. And I can say with Stacy, to you too, you've been involved with the Posse. And what we're given to an award, and this was actually generated by the Posse members, that one of the things that they had done is that we all know that they opened up the Pinion Trail over there by Pine Nut Road and all that area. So the first time they opened that up for people to be able to walk up in the mountains and see the new trails and all that sort of stuff, well, these two great people were there also. And that was on March 14th. And they went down the trail, and here was a lady that was walking up that was really having some real major problems. Her heart was not doing well. She told these two great people that I got a problem, I have a heart problem, and I don't know if I can go anywhere. Well, I can tell you this, James got one of our radios, and he got on the air, and he says, we got somebody that needs help. And at that point, he was telling exactly where they were at. And dispatch, I think, or maybe it might have been East Fork Fire, wanted to get a helicopter to be able to get her out of there. Well, because of the terrain, they couldn't put a helicopter down. So what happened was he and you directed the paramedics to be able to exactly the location where they're at. They had to walk up the mountains, get on down, get a stretcher, and they brought him out. And I can tell you what, we're very, very proud that you saved somebody's life, that you were there. Outstanding job. I don't know about you, Stacy, but now you got how many plaques? Yeah, I think you've got more than one. Because he does a lot of things. He's really a great kid, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the Posse. They do a great job. And when you save somebody's life, there's nothing better. Here's your plaque. Thank you so much. Ben Miller. Search and rescue, please come up. Not only do I have to deal with him with the search and rescue, he's also with the Nevada Post organization. Does a great job training a lot of people. He brings some of that information into the search and rescue unit itself, and I know you're making a big difference on that. One of the things that Ben has done, he's been involved. He started, I think if I recall right, about 4 years ago. And what you've done is you've gone all the way up now to a vice president? Yeah, so you know what? He cares about that organization. All of us care about search and rescue, outstanding organization. Sometimes they get out called up to 60 times per year. Talk about saving lives, trying to do difference for people, they do. You also help with the instruction end of it. You've got a lot of things that you're doing with search and rescue, and search and rescue wanted to make sure that we know that, which we do. And we want to make sure that we recognize you for the amount of hours you put in. You volunteer tons of hours. He's there all the time. When the buzzer goes off, he comes down at 100 miles an hour. I don't know what your boss says, but we'll take care of it. We'll make sure it can still happen, right? But the point of it is he's a really great, active member of the search and rescue. And we need to recognize these good folks. They're making a huge difference. They are something that makes a difference for everybody here in Douglas County. On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we thank you for your volunteer time, your hard work, and we really appreciate you. I don't know how come, maybe somebody can help me out, why Claudia Lowe always gets an award every year. Come on up, Claudia. I tease her. I remember not too long ago I was up here and I did it, I think, at least once, maybe more. And why is that? Because she is outstanding volunteer. One of the things we wanted to make sure that you understand, we appreciate the amount of time, 90 hours in a short period of time, she had filled in a position that was then open. And we had to have people working in the jail area and being able to do the paperwork, civil work, all those kinds of things. She came in like she was getting a paycheck. And you know what? Like you always say, I say it's in the mail. I don't know when it's coming, but it's going to come. But an outstanding person that's very, very much involved in the citizen patrol aspect. Anything that we ever ask Claudia to come and help, she comes to run. But one of the things that we like more than anything, you're intelligent, you care, you give 100%, and we never have to worry about you. Because what you do as an end product is always positive. And on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, thanks for all the things you do for us. Ed Guerin. Ed Guerin has been with our Sheriff's Office now for 16 years. Several years ago he was promoted to investigator. Can't remember how many years? Over 6 years. And he's done a great job. But one of the things that we want to give him a sheriff's citation too. And that is the fact that he worked so hard on one particular homicide that made a big difference. Over a year, he worked day and night, I swear. Probably were dreaming in the middle of the night about it. Where this one person was killed by, they said it was by a suicide. But he worked so hard on this thing, he said, no, there's some problems with this. There's some issues with this. There's some evidence here. There's some things that says it's not suicide. And by gosh, if the DA's office didn't indict that person, they went to trial, and that suspect got second degree homicide. And because of your hard work and your investigation, you made something happen. And you made a difference to the family. You made a difference for everybody that was connected with that, and the hard work you did with that homicide investigation. It could have been easy just to say, yeah, it's a suicide and walk away. He did not do that. He knew it wasn't right. He knew it smelled, and he wanted to go after him, and he did. And what a successful court. Thank you very much. Karis, how could you recognize 3 of your records people? I'm teasing. Crystal and Tammy and Peggy, if you could come up, please. things that you do is you go in there, if you're ever having a slow day, or if you're thinking, you know what, I'm gonna get out of that office and I wanna get cheered up, I go over there and talk to these girls, and it's so much fun. But in putting aside the fun that they have, they work extremely hard. And we've had some positions that have been open, and they've taken over the task of other person's job that would have been there, and they've done a great job. They also, one of the things is that the public comes in and they make so much recommendation and comments about the fact of how wonderful you three are. And your whole little division in there, they may be having fun, they may be doing things, they might be, and you wonder, how do you ever accomplish it? Because you do it. And you know what, that's so important, to have good, positive people out there that enjoy their job, that really, truly want to give it their all, and to serve the public. And I can tell you, on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we're proud of all three of you. Outstanding job. So, thank you so much. So I really appreciate that, but I wanted to ask you a question. You know, every time we have Halloween, we have to dress up kind of crazy. You know, the Duck Dynasty thing last time, that was fun. So what's on this year? Pirates. Okay. But you know what? That's what they do, and they work hard at it, and people enjoy that. So thank you so much for your hard work. See Notch over there. Come on up. With Mr. Gonzalez, I'll tell you what, I am so happy that, you know, about you because of the performance you do in the jail division. And you know, you've done a great job, and you know, he's got a great history. You know, I remember, I look at these explorers in the back, I remember when you were an explorer. Way back in probably 99, 2000, whatever it was. And then from there he went in the military, am I correct? And then from there he came back and asked for a job, and we gave it to him. And in that time that he's been with us since 2005, he went to Afghanistan and was actually in Operation Enduring Freedom in August of 2011 and fought that war. And he came back, and he's doing an outstanding job. And one of the things that he is, why we're giving him the Jail Officer of the Year is for a lot of reasons. I think one author out the top, that really the reason is because the enthusiasm and the passion to make it better in that jail. You've done some really great things and protocols and some policies and doing things like that that are making those officers do it easier and more efficient. The other thing that you do is a lot of training. He's an FTO. So what he does is he trains some of those jail officers all the time. He also works on different kinds of things with the taser and keeps up track of all the paperwork dealing with all those kinds of items. You know, when we asked the question is that who we're going to pick from the jail, nobody said anything but we're going to select Natchez. And you know what? We appreciate your hard work. You're an outstanding employee. You're making our jobs easier. And I just want to thank you so much. Justin Williams and Jeff Johnston. These two fine deputy sheriffs, they're an outstanding thing that they're going to get an award for. And over the next several that I'm going to be that presentation, there's a life-saving medal that we give. These two officers on March 24th, 2015, responded to the Carson Valley Inn and reported that an 82-year-old female subject who had suffered a heart attack. When they arrived, they initiated the CPR on her, continued performing a life-saving measure until relieved by the East Fork Fire and Paramedic District. This patient was transported to Renown, and she was fully recovered. I can tell you that if they wouldn't have got there first, and normally, it seems at least, that law enforcement reaches to that location before paramedics do. We don't have time for that. And these two officers took it on their own, jumped right in there, and saved somebody's life. I'm proud of you. Did an outstanding job. And on behalf of the Sheriff's Office and the entire county, Douglas County, and I'm sure this person cannot thank you enough. And we're going to give you, I'll show everyone. Pat, did you use tape again? He did. You know, he always tries to be nice, but he really isn't. You're Ron. Ron? We got it. My wife's got good nails. I eat mine. All right. This is something that I think is a treasure, something that you need to look at and remember that you saved somebody's life. And I'll tell you what, I am so proud of both of you, and I'm very proud to be able to give that to you. So I thank you very much. I got all kinds of goodies for you. And here is the citation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Rodney Ginocchio and Taylor Jones. I wondered sometimes why Rod has his brother with him all the time from the FBI. Are you trying to get stuff on us or what? He needs a role model. On May 28, 2014, both these officers responded to Heroic Drive, where the woman was unconscious and not breathing. Deputy Jones arrived at the scene approximately 1 minute after the call. That's outstanding. And in that time, he started CPR on this lady. Deputy Joko arrived shortly thereafter, and he began assisting. Both these officers continued CPR members of until the East Fork Fire Department arrived in the scene and began to advance life-saving measures. She was transported to Carson Valley Medical Center, and then it was checked on May 20th, 2014, that they learned that this lady survived and would have never survived without these two gentlemen. I too am extremely proud of you. We're giving you these medals tonight as our thanks for doing such a great job. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Marshall flag. On April 17, 2015, Search and Rescue Team member Sean Savage was assisting DCSO patrol personnel with the highway closure on US 395 due to a wildlife fire. Sean suffered a seizure, ultimately leading to a heart attack. His partner radioed that he needed assistance and rapidly drove him approximately a mile away where the deputies and fire personnel were staged. Deputy Flagg blocked the northbound traffic lane on US 395, and at that time he saw Sean just inside, sitting down on the passenger side of the search and rescue vehicle. Sean had no pulse and was not breathing. Deputy Flagg and a SAR member pulled Sean from the vehicle and laid him down on his shoulder on the road. Unable to have any signs of life, Deputy Flagg started giving him CPR. Deputy Flagg gave CPR until the paramedics arrived. And they transported him to Carson Tahoe Hospital. I wonder if it's too much to ask if you could stand up. This is the person. We are so happy you're sitting with us. I am extremely happy also for the fine job you did. I appreciate that. How many more we have? That's Vito, Ron Stabisky, Troy, Dan, Amber. Please come up. On July 7, 2014, Elks County Dispatch broadcast a call of a male jogger who had collapsed and was unconscious and not breathing. Upon arrival of these three deputies, they began giving CPR to the patient. Deputies Vito and Amber took over performing the CPR while Ski, as we call him, Stabisky, received an 8 ED from the patrol unit. And Ron went ahead and started with that thing and delivered electric shocks. The deputies then continued performing CPR until the arrival of the paramedics. The patient began breathing on his own, and his pulse actually started to go as they transported him to the Carson Tahoe Medical Center. And I can tell you this, is what it was given to us by the fire department was that gentleman probably would have never made it if you would have not been there when you did the CPR, and all those things that you did to keep that man alive. And we're very, very proud of you doing that. And I'm sure you're proud of making that happen and to see that you saved somebody's life. On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we thank you very much. Ski, I think you have to stay here tonight. You're going to have more medals than anybody I know. But that's okay because you're doing a great job. What happened on on April 26, 2015, about 6 p.m. Ron was off duty having dinner with his wife. He was drawing attention to the fact that near the cash register area in the restaurant that he observed a female employee of a restaurant attempting to perform maneuver of a female customer. Ron immediately went over there and did that, and because she had eaten a cookie, if I remember right, and it got caught in her throat, he did the procedure and saved that person's life. And that's outstanding, Ron. You didn't sit there and just wait and say, I'll wait for the paramedics. You ran right over there and you did that procedure and you saved that lady's life. On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, again, Thank you so much. Brett Hicks. I think it was mentioned earlier that we had a school resource officer. We had one position for a long time, and then we got another one through the school district, and Brett volunteered to do that. I know you from many years, and how much caring you have for people, without any doubt. And one of the things he did, he went into that program, he's helping kids all the time, making a huge difference for those kids when they got problems. He really cares. He works hard, and I can tell you, every time I go to a DARE graduation, I cannot believe how many of those teachers come up to me and say how wonderful you are. Because you're making a difference with those kids, whether it be at home, whether it be within the school system itself, maybe dealing with drugs, mental health issues, all those different things that those kids are going through. Brett takes the time to do it. One of the things I know that you get frustrated once in a while is the fact is, what do I do with this child when they have mental illness problems? I know you've really been bothered with that, and because he does care. How do we solve that? How do we help those young people? He stayed one night, I think, until midnight, until he got it resolved. That's the kind of guy he is. The school district is so happy to have you on board to help those kids in the middle schools and in elementary schools, wherever you go. And they think so much of you for a positive law enforcement officer. And those kids love you too. You're making a difference with those kids. You're making our community better. You're making it easier for our law enforcement people to keep out on the beats, and you're taking care of all those issues in school. And with that in mind, for the Officer of the Year, Brett Hicks. Amy Savage, come on up. Amy came to work for us in 2003, and then in 2012, I was really proud of her in that, you know, she was going up against a lot of individuals in our department that also wanted to be promoted to sergeant. She worked hard. I talked to her. I said, have you been studying? She says, yes, like months ago. And she took it seriously. And she got #1 on the test. She did so well on that. And what she's done is now she enjoys her job so much as a supervisor, she's taking on more and more in the jail division itself and making it much better. Some of you probably know that we are in compliance with the National Commission of Correctional Health Care Accreditation. The only law enforcement agency in the state of Nevada is here in Douglas County. What does that mean? That means that what we're doing is the right thing. And we're being able to handle situations with health and mental problems, and being able to do the right thing to get these people, when they are released from jail, to be productive in the future. She also deals with all the psychiatrists and the nurses and the 2 deputies that you supervise dealing with the medication issues. She puts all the protocols down and makes sure it's right. I don't think I'd want to make a mistake with you, okay? Because she'll make sure and correct that immediately. That's the kind of person she is. She takes on a task because she believes in it, and she wants to make sure the sheriff's office is doing what they're supposed to do. And you know, I'm proud of you for a lot of reasons. And one of which is when you come to work, you're always happy. You always want to do a great job. You come in and ask questions. You care. And people love you. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do tonight, was to recognize the Supervisor of the Year, Amy Savage. I have to say this is my last one, and it's something that I want to give is to Mary, if you could come. They talked tonight about the fact that we've had Law and Order Night now for, this is our 31st. Last year I had contacted somebody, I don't recall who, and I said it was number 30 years of doing this thing. It's been so productive and so important for our agency and other agencies. Gives us the opportunity, opens the door up to be able to recognize you good folks for doing what you do. And it's been so positive and something that I want to always see happen. So in any event, they told me, well, give it to the next time you have a Law and Order Night. So this is a 30th event, okay? Instead of 31, but you know what, we want to thank you some way. And I know it's only a plaque, but it means a lot to the law enforcement community here in Douglas County for allowing us to be here and to recognize her.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to 30 more years.
I just want to say that I think we're done with all the awards, and I think there might be another comment, but all I can tell you is I'm so, as being a CEO of an agency to have such wonderful people as we do. The amount of people that call me all the time and say those officers are doing such a great job, and we appreciate them so much. The volunteers that give so much for us to do what we have to do. And you know what? I look at the things that are happening, like Mr. Wright had mentioned, across this country. There's 900,000 law enforcement officers in this country. And we got that much that are doing bad. And we got 0 in Douglas County. Because we're going to continue to do the right thing. And law enforcement is going to have some big issues in the future. But you know what? I'm so proud of you because we don't have those issues. And I appreciate you. I cannot thank you for the hard work you do every day. My command staff is outstanding. They work night and day. The sergeants work hard. The deputies work hard. The civilians work hard. Everybody works hard to make our department what it is. And I thank you to the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Well, as chairman of this event this year, I'd like Officer Duffy and Officer Doug to please come up forward. Well, as we're coming up, we always recognize people that step up one step higher than the step on their front porch. Well, these two here have stepped up every year. I've had the privilege of knowing them for 2 years now. As the chairman of this committee, and also I have a check here for our Douglas County Explorers that we want to give them so they can advance their work in training young people to learn how to be good citizens.
Have a safe journey home. And just remember, there's no officers out there to give you tickets, so have fun.